Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of WOWSA Live with our host, Ned Denison. Ned?
Hello, I'm an epic marathon swimmer, and I'm the chairperson of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. Our next guest is an honoree of the organization. Monique, could you please introduce yourself? But first, I want to hear about your swimming background before your first big marathon, and then we'll creep into the marathon after that.
Oh, okay. So, well, I'm Monique Wildschut, nowadays blog because I'm married. And I first started swimming when I was 9 years old, and the marathon circuit is introduced with me when I was 16 years old. And then I swim in the Netherlands, the IJsselmeer, so that's 20k swim. And actually that was the first marathon I swam, and I won that right away. So then I knew I have to keep going into the marathon swimming. But well, that was the first marathon. But actually from early age, I swam in open water. Here in the Netherlands, we have in the summer there's a lot of open water swimming races, and usually 2 and 3 kilometers. So from when I was 11 years old, I was in that circuit. It's a that circuit whole summer through, and it's 2 and 3 kilometers. And then, well, I won that. Obviously, I won 5-time Dutch championships, and then I started with marathons. So how I started.
So you raced in the era when the men and women were together in the races.
Yes.
And your first big race in the IJsselmeer, you were 16 or 17 years old.
Yes.
Your first big swim, and you win. How did it feel? How did it, did you have a smile on your face for a month?
Oh yeah, of course. And actually, it was, well, 16. What is 16? You're still a girl, and well, I didn't know I could win with all those grown-ups, of course. But on the other hand, the year before, I knew I was one of the best of the Netherlands, of course. And well, first of all, it's an achievement to make the 25, or no, it's 22 kilometers in that anyway. And yeah, of course, I got lots of people watching, and got lots of people say hello. And well, in the team I swam with, they were all very proud, of course. The trainers proud, and all the people I swam with, they're proud. So yeah, that was very nice.
Tell people what the IJsselmeer is. Give us a little bit of history of that piece of water, and just describe the whole event for us as well.
Okay. Well, the IJsselmeer is well, it's trying to take. IJsselmeer is a lake. It's well, hundreds of years ago it was a sea, but there's a big dam now. So because of the big dam now, it's a very large lake, and you can compare it with Lake St. John. If anyone ever was in Lake St. John in Canada, it's a lake like that. And it's a lake that can be very spooky. So if there is a lot of, the weather can change like that, and the water is cold. It's a cold water lake, and well, and what we did a crossing. So it's the crossing from one side to the other side of the lake, and it's from Stavre to Medemblik, and that's the shortest distance of the lake. And well, and I think the first who swam there was in 1970, in the 70s, 72, I think. And my father, by the way, was also a swimmer, marathon swimmer. So he swam the IJsselmeer also I think in 75, 76. And well, it's a very famous swim in the Netherlands, and it's also the longest distance. And so well, it's also an honor if you can compete in there, because like all other marathons, then well, there was a limited amount of people who can roll in, of course. So because of the boat, the guidance boats, and so on, and so I think the maximum then was 20 or 22 swimmers, and yeah, but it like I said, it's a lake what's you cannot predict. So one year it was very flat, the water was flat, and there's no wind, and you can go straight to the other side. But I also swam one year, and it was lots of wind and high waves, and well, it takes 1 hour longer almost, right? And because of the circumstances. So yeah, but it's good. It's a good way to learn to swim a marathon.
For those of you not familiar with the location, only in the Netherlands would you take the ocean, put a big dam on it, and turn it into a freshwater lake.
Of course.
And it's also very shallow, 3 meters maybe. And
no, it's not very shallow.
No.
No.
Okay, I'm wrong on that then.
No, in the middle it's pretty deep because it used to be an ocean. At the borders there's shallow. Yes.
Okay.
That's true. But when you're in the middle, it's very deep also. I think it's about 30 meters. It's not very deep. But,
so you went from the IJsselmeer 3 years in a row. You were first, second in second, beat by a man, I think, the last 2 years, and then you ended up at the English Channel.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience there.
In '82. Yeah, well, actually, it's strangely enough a turning point in my career, because yes, I did swim marathon in IJsselmeer, and I did swim open water swimming, but I also was a good swimmer in the pool. And so in the winter, I swam in the pool, and I was in the Dutch team also, with the longer distances in youth team. And well, there were circumstances with my coach that actually I wanted to quit swimming, and because I really loved swimming in the open water, I thought, well, you know, I stopped my career. I end my career by swimming the English Channel, and then I quit. And excuse me. Well, so I went over there, and well, my experience, it's a very how do you say that? It's a little world on its own. So I came there in England, in Folkestone, and it's a really small fisherman's wharf place. And well, of course, for me it was all new, and I didn't know anybody. My father came with me as my coach, and we stayed in a little hotel there. And all swimmers, or all people who wanted to cross the English Channel, were there. And so it was very yeah, cozy, I used to say that, to talk to all those people from all over the world who wanted to cross the English Channel. So yeah, it was one big family. And well, and then, because in the English Channel you cannot say I want to swim that day. You can only say, well, that's the period I have to go there, and somewhere in that week I will start. So that was also pretty new, of course, for me. But wow. Well, okay, then we went to the pilot, right? But, who was going to be my pilot? That was Val Noakes, and well, he said, okay, you're a young girl, and I was second or third on the enroll. I don't remember. Well, but anyway, the tide was coming in, was right, but the weather was not nice. There was a lot of wind, so I had to wait and wait again. And wait again. And I was second on the list, I remember. And there was the weather was nice. And Van he told me, well, if there's a 12 hours forecast, then you go first. But if there's a 36-hour or 24-hour forecast, then it was Cindy Nicholas from Canada, because she wanted to do a triple, double. And I said, okay, I agree with that. And but okay, then there was a forecast for 12 hours, so I thought, oh, I can go first. But then Cindy said, no, well, no, I go anyway. Then I do, I do one way, and then I see how far it goes. And then the weather was very, very, very nice. There was almost no wind. It was flat, and so Cindy went, and I didn't. And she did a double, and then she went for a triple, but she didn't make the triple because the weather changed, and there was storm and winds, so I had to wait and wait. And well, by the time it was my turn, the weather was not that nice anymore. It was very choppy, a lot of waves, but of course I wanted to go anyway because I wanted to swim in this channel. So I had to swim. I had to start at night, in the middle of the night. I think 1 o'clock or something. In the middle of the night in the darkness. I never swam in the darkness. It was for me the first time, and that was I thought it was pretty scary. Maybe because it was the first time, but to swim at night, I didn't like, because it's all black and dark, and you have only the big light on your head, and at a certain point I had to go to the other side of the boat because I got sick because of the waves. And then I said, well, I have to quit. And then they said, well, go swim on the other side of the boat. And then I had to stop, and the boat goes on, and I'm behind the boat to the other side. But then I was in the dark, and I was very, very scary. I thought, oh, maybe they don't find me anymore. And then the days, of course, we only had the little green thing I had on my bathing suit, and but they found me. And then, well, I finished. I made it to the other side in 8 hours, 44 minutes, first time. And it was very, very choppy. And I did land on Cap Griné, so that's the shortest thing. But it was very rocky, so I had to touch. But they didn't let me climb out because it was too dangerous. And so, well, I had to touch the other side and then swim back and go back with the boat and get sick in there anyway.
We have a history now of a long history of Dutch professional swimmer world champions. We've got Herman Velmzy. These are all in the Hall of Fame. Herman Velmzy, Johan Schraans, Judith Denise before you, and then Irene van der Laan was kind of at the same time as you, followed by Edith van Dijk and Martine van der Weyden. And the Dutch didn't do so badly in Rio.
No.
Is there a trail of breadcrumbs? Is there a special school? Do they come to you when you're 19 and say, you will be the next Dutch champion? Here is a special book. How does this Dutch mafia work for open water swimming?
I don't know. I think because it was always, like I say, it was very common to have the open water races for years and years, and like biking, everybody swims here. Now, if you cannot swim, if you don't have a diploma, you get in school. You get swimming lessons in schools, because we have water all over the country, and yeah. Especially then the day, it was very common to swim in open water. And
did you know the professionals before you? Did you know Herman? Did you know Judith? Did you know Johan? No. Did they say to you, here's our advice?
No, I didn't know them at all, actually. Well, I knew the name, but I never met them before. And that's because even you would say that to the like the IJsselmeer and the other races, that they would come and look or watch, but no, I never met them before, and maybe, so why did I go there? No, I started because it was a kind of a tradition. And I think it's more a little bit a tradition than to swim in open water and then to go a little bit further and further. Because I mentioned IJsselmeer, but here in Holland we start with 2 or 3 kilometers, but there's a race of 5 kilometers, there's a race of 8, there's a race of 12, 16. So you can make little steps. And if you're good enough, you can go very far and otherwise not. So I think, yeah, maybe that's why. And
certainly in the United States, those races didn't exist in the 1980s. They may have existed in England, but I don't think many countries had that tradition of the open water swimming. And maybe it was just everything came together. You had the races, you had the coaches, you had the experience, you had the tradition.
Yeah.
Tell us about your professional career.
Oh yeah, So well, after the English Channel, I was introduced to a lot of swimmers in England then, and then I thought, oh, I'm good in that. And well, in the role of swimmer you just mentioned, Dutch swimmers, you forgot Joke van Staveren. Joke van Staveren was still swimming when I wanted to go into the circuit, and I talked to her. Yes, I met her, and she introduced me also in the professional circuit. And the first year she came with me, and she was my coach. And so I swam 7 years. So from 1983 was the first year, and 1989 was the last year. So 7 years, all in all. And I really loved it. It was, of course, it's hard work, but it's just a way of living. You know, it's your life. It's traveling, it's working, it's swimming, it's training. What I really liked is that all the other swimmers, of course, are your competitors in the water, and then you want to win. But outside of the water, actually, we were friends. And because we all had to do everything on our own, like nowadays, like if you go to Ferry Weertman, our Dutch Ferry Weertman and Sharon van Rouwendaal, you know, they're big stars and everything's taken care of. But we had to take care of ourselves. And we had to see how to go to America, and how do I go to Canada? How do I pay this, and where do I get the money from? And but all of the swimmers were that way, and so we helped each other, and we were friends. Well, you know, of course, Stephen, you were in that time too. So
I looked at one race, and the number of Hall of Fame honorees was amazing. This was 84, Newport in the United States to Magog in Quebec. And Paul Asmuth, Steve Munatonis, James Kegley, Philip Rush, Nessar El Shazili, Irene van der Laan, and yourself. So, you know, talk about all of the stars in one swim.
Great, huh? Yeah.
And you were the ladies' world champion every year?
Yeah, not the last one. So 83 until 88, and then 89 not. But I didn't swim all the swims then. Also, and yeah, so that meant that of course it's with points, right? And so I tried to swim all the swims there were, you know, where the rankings, all the swims that were in the rankings I went to, and I swam. And with the females, I was always first, second, and sometimes third. And but the overall rankings, I think I was always with first 10. It's always men and women together, and so it was also well, worthwhile for me to keep swimming, because I could get enough money to go for the next year and pay for my coach, and so yeah.
And for a young Dutch woman, you saw the world.
Yeah, I saw the world. It's very nice. I love the traveling. Really.
What I also like is, Go ahead.
What I also liked is that because there was not that much money going around, and we had to take care of ourselves. we didn't sleep always in a hotel, or sometimes we stayed at people at home, and so you also get to know more about the culture of that country. Like in Canada, well, you have Canada City, but you have Canada Rockville. It's a big difference, and so you stay there with the family, and so yeah, I really love that. The traveling and friendly part.
Before I ask you about favorite swims, talk to us about the double crossing of Lake Saint Jean.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's okay. We want to hear the horrible first.
Well, the first time the first time that it was organized, I was also in it. I think 85. I think it was, and yeah, and that was it was an adventure because it's of course a double of what I used was. It was 64K, and so that's I say that uitdaging. What's that in English? Well, it's it's a challenge. Thank you. It's a challenge. It was another challenge to see how can I go further, because actually that's also marathon swimming. You try to see how far you can go and can I go further and further. And I was a competitive swimmer, so that's what I like about the double of Lake Saint John also, because it was a race. And the longer the distance, the more chance for a woman of the men also. And so I thought, wow, yeah, I want to go in there. But I said it is horrible because, we started, I think at 10 at night. Well, it was dark anyway. I think 10 o'clock at night we started, and we swam the whole night through. And like I said before, I don't like swimming in the dark. And it's cold also, and then all you can think of the sun coming. And then of course then it's back and forth, so it's just first crossing. I mean, you come on the other side. That was really nice because after a whole night seeing nobody, nothing, only fighting your house. And then at the turning point, and it's pretty early in the morning, I think 6 or something, there were lots of people there. There were lots of people cheering, and then I said, oh yeah, I have to go back. I cannot go out. And then swimming back, and then, I had, of course, at the first lane say that there was some competition. Now there were people I could compete with, but on the way back, the person in front of me was too far ahead, and the person behind me was too far behind. So at that point, it was just see if I can finish the distance. And that's a different mindset than swimming in the race. That's what I learned from that. Okay, swimming. And how can you keep yourself busy in your mind to go to it? And I remember after 15 hours swimming, I was like, what am I doing? What's the use? What's the point? What am I doing? Everything. And I thought, well, what's the use of quitting after 15 hours? That's double dumb. So then I kept going, and I think the first time was 19 hours, 5 minutes, and and it was special. It's a special thing to do, actually. It's more than a race. It's fighting with yourself. Keep yourself busy in your mind, and that's even harder, I think, than the body. That was the first time, and then the second time I quit. I had to go out because I had food poisoning, and then the last one, then the circumstances were different, and so it took me 1.5 hours shorter, just because the circumstances of the water were different. It was cold and that last one, it was in '89. That I wanted to have the revenge together with Paul Asmuth, because Paul and me, well, I quit because I had food poisoning, and Paul, one of those years, had to quit because he had an injury. And after that, they didn't invite us anymore because they say, well, you know, if you quit, then we don't invite you anymore. And of course, we didn't like that. And but then the swimmers, they didn't have swimmers anymore because who can swim that long distance? Not that many. And so that last year, that in '89, they invited Paul and me again, and we said to each other, "Oh, we have to win. Both of us, we have to win, of course." And so we did. Paul got first, and I got second. I almost got it, but but not really. But we were happy for each other also. You know, that was really fun. But it was not. But it's not nice because I remember that last one. The water was very, very cold, and my fingers, I have thin fingers, as you see, and they were cramped. And I think after a few hours they were like this, and I swam all the way, fingers like this. And after the race, I think it took about 3 months before I could put my fingers again together. So and also, well, it's everything hurts, you know. It's not nice, but after it, when it's done, then you're really happy. And it was nice.
Your second time in the English Channel. This was not a race against people, but were you racing against the clock?
Exactly. Yes. The English Channel. Well, like I said, I'm a competitive swimmer, and well, if it's not a race against other people, then I race against the clock. And of course, I wanted to go for the time record. And by that time, it was 7 hours 40 minutes. 7 hours 40 minutes from Peneliti. And I thought, I can do that. Of course, I'm good enough, fast enough. So let's go for it. And I went back to England, and I talked to the pilot, and I said, well, I only want to go. I only want to start if the forecast is good enough to make a record. Now, if it's a forecast just to cross, I won't go. Only if I can go for a record. So we waited for that forecast, and that one came. So I was happy, and I was very prepared, and we went for it. But halfway, well, of course, the course, he made it a very sharp course. Now, because I don't know if people know that, but if you swim the English Channel, it's very rare you can cross straight. You know, it's all, at least it's a C, like a C. If you're a little bit fast, and it's only one C. If you're slower, then you have to do an S. But we tried to make a course that's very sharp. So not a big C, but a very small C. And then, of course, the shorter the distance, the faster. And so that was a gamble, of course, because halfway the currents was not like it said on the table, on the paper. It was much stronger. So by the time I could see Cap Grinet, and I had, I think, about 4 more miles to swim, and I could see it straight in front of me, and I was swimming. And every time I looked up, I saw the cape go like this, and it goes like that and that and that. So I missed the cape because the currents was too strong, and I had to swim a little bit further, and so I missed also the record. And so I remember I came out of the water, and I walked onto the sand, and there were people coming on the beach. And, where do you come from? Where do you come from? And I was sitting on the stone. And, yeah, I'm Dutch, and I swim. I come from England swimming. And I was all mad because I didn't have a record. Because people didn't understand, of course. And then I hopped into the water, swam back to the boat, and then we went back. And it was a shame because it was a very nice swim, nice smooth swim, and I felt very good. It was the fastest swim that year anyway. But so I got my Rolex, but yeah, it was not the record. And it took years after that someone broke it. And but you know, but in the English Channel, you don't have. that's what I learned from that. Don't swim because you want to be the best. Because after me, there were swimmers who were faster than me and had a slower time. But that's just, you have to be lucky to get the right.
You need luck to make those records.
Yeah, even to cross. You need luck.
Yeah. For all of your professional swims, what were some of the favorite ones?
I liked Atlantic City, around the island swim, because that was how do you say that? Obviously, it was a lot of variation in the swim. So it's a piece in the ocean, a piece in the bay, piece in a little river, and there's a piece in the swamp. So that I like that, and it does not just go one way. You have to look where to go, and you can use some tactics also. Tactics. With rounding a jetty or something. That was more than just swim a long distance. So you have to think. You have to, talk to your coach. What shall we do? Where should we go? Or the coach has to look very good and tell me, now you have to go there, and then have to trust him and not ask him why. You just do what he says. And that's Atlantic City, because of the currents and all the different circumstances you have. And that one I like the best, actually. And Capri Napoli, I also liked Italy. Capri Napoli. The only thing I didn't like about it was a nice swim. It's also because of the surroundings. Maybe it's a nice little island, Capri, and for me it's close to home. In the Netherlands, it's not that far. But by the way, the swim itself was also nice. Also, there's some currents, and it was pretty hard to see where to go, and I like that one also. Yeah.
So last question for you, Monique. You retired from professional swimming. You got into the Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, and then many years later, you got in the International Swimming Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
How important was that for you? What did it mean to you?
Well, for me, it was very important, because maybe I don't know how it was in other countries, but for me, it was a recognition to the 6 times world championships. But here in my own country, it didn't mean anything, because I didn't get the recognition of the swimming association or anything, because I was professional. They said, well, it's not a FINA swim, it's not a legal, right? That's how they looked at it. So that's a shame, of course. And it took years for me to be proud of it, because I always thought, oh yeah, well, okay, if they say it's nothing, then maybe it is nothing. And at a certain point, I thought, well, nothing. I mean, 6 times being best of the world, it is something. And I got to a point in my life that I thought I have to write things down, and then I wrote a book about everything of my swimming career, and during the writing, I started to realize that it was not nothing, and that was a big deal, and it was not only a fun time; it was a very hard time. And it was very strange. After I wrote the book, I don't know if it came by that, but everything came back, and I started to. It was a part of my life again. It sounds strange, but before that, I thought, okay, that was in the 80s, and now I have a different life. And after that, and I got the recognition, of the Swimming Hall of Fame, and after that, our federation, Dutch federation, said, okay, all right. Then I got a golden pin here, and then the place I live, they came. Oh yeah, well we get you your how do you say that, corrivee. So we honor you for your whole swimming career. you know, it's only 30 years later, and then it all came together, kind of. And then I felt whole again. It was very strange. I felt whole again. It's, oh yeah, it's part of me. You know, I don't have. It's not a part of me. It is a part of me, and I did good, and it made me who I am now. Also in my work. So yeah, it's important to have recognition. So good. I'm happy with that.
In English, the book is called Hardships of a Marathon Swimmer.
Right.
Monique, thank you very much for your time today.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.